Well, Man United is taking on Crystal Palace at the Selhurst Park. Second consecutive Premier League game in a row that we're going to be playing away from home. And Man United looks like they're ready and try to obviously take on the side of Crystal Palace in a very good, fashionable way into the mix. Man United coming to this game of football after winning 2 consecutive games in the previous 2 games that Man United have gone ahead to play. They found themselves scoring 10 goals, 3 against a Premier League side known as Southampton. Then later they found themselves in a situation of really doing the due diligence here, and they beat Barnsley by 7 goals to nil. 2 games, 10 goals, 2 clean sheets kept. And for Leicester City, they obviously went ahead to play with Crystal Palace. They played with Leicester City in the Premier League. It ended 2-2 at home. And then QPR was knocked out by Crystal Palace on Tuesday, that is midweek, as United was knocking out the side known as Barnsley. Welcome to this channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And Rock and David is my name, and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are. So, Man United is very, very charged, and we are having 6 points, meaning that if we win the game of football that we're going to be playing over the weekend, that will give Man United a very huge boost. That we are really gonna be having 9 points, and it obviously put us in the ilk of Aston Villa and very many others. And I told you, the people who watching this channel, that this game is really very important because we are having Arsenal playing Man City. If they draw and Man United just has a win, then United will be at 9 points, meaning that we will be 2 points behind Arsenal and 2 points behind Arsenal, and how many points behind Man City? Because Man City will be having 13 and will be 4 points behind Man City. Because right now, Man City is really having 12 points and they're 6 points behind Manchester United. And this is what everyone will obviously want to have and really get into the mix as far as everything is really concerned. So, Man United is doing the due diligence, and obviously we believe that we are really going to put out a very huge squad. Erik ten Hag has confirmed to us that Rasmus Højlund and Mason Mount are going to be part of the squad traveling to London to play Crystal Palace. And remember, Ten Hag hasn't gone ahead obviously win at Selhurst Park the 2 previous times. He has gone ahead to play there. The first time it ended 1-1. The second time they beat us by 4 goals to nil. And then in the Carabao Cup, that's when obviously they had to beat them home and away, and that gave United a very huge go into the final to win that final as we beat Newcastle by 2 goals to nil. Remember that like yesterday. So this time round, United is going that side with players that have gone ahead to be rested. When you look at the team that played against Barnsley, Ten Hag went ahead to rest 8 players, and those players were Onana, Mazrui, Matthias de Ligt, Lisandro Martinez, Kobe Mainoo, Amadi Diallo, Bruno Fernandes, and Zexi. So those were the 8 players that Erik ten Hag went ahead to obviously rest. Meaning that all those 8 players are really going to be coming in through, and we are going to be waiting to see out of these other, out of the 11 that played in the game of Barnsley, who are the 3 that Erik ten Hag is really going to include into that team, and that's why we get into the mix. So the injured players, Lenny Yoro, Luke Shaw, Tyrell Malacia, Victor Lindelof, all those are really injured, but the rest of the players are readily available. For Crystal Palace, they obviously have Matthias Franca, who is really injured, having a rib fracture. Then Chaid Riyad, centre-back, is having an injury, and Leima is having a toe injury. So those are the injuries that they're really having, and they don't have any suspensions, meaning that the likes of Ebelechi Eze are really going to be coming into the mix. When you look at their game they played in the midweek, they really went ahead to obviously go a little bit strong because Ebelechi Eze started, Gehi started, Richard started, Kamada, Moruz, Nketiah, obviously Mateta. Their starting 11 was really strong, and they never rested any of their big players, meaning that United is going to be coming in with a very huge boost altogether to obviously take on a side like them. So allow me throw you into this probable starting 11 that Rokan David has gone ahead obviously come up with to see to it that everything really moves on as planned. Now, the system that Erik ten Hag is going to be using, it's all known. It's a 4-2-3-1 system. That's the system that Erik ten Hag is really going to be using. In goal, that's the first change that Erik ten Hag is going to be making. In goal, it's going to be Andre Onana replacing Attil Bendeir, who went ahead obviously play his second United game, and looks like he's going to be the tournament goalkeeper in the Carabao Cup. And every time obviously proceed to go to the next stages, Attil Bendeir will obviously coming through and put in the required shift altogether. So Andre Onana comes in through to obviously fight and keep another clean sheet in the Premier League. 4 games played in the Premier League, 2 clean sheets, and 2 haven't gone ahead obviously go his way. And it has not gone ahead to be his it hasn't gone ahead to be his reason as to why you're really performing like that. And it shows you the huge difference from the United that we were last season to the United that we are this season, that Andre Onana is not the reason as to why we're really conceding such goals. Right back, obviously it was Dalo, but we all know to it that Mazurui is obviously going to be coming in through, and that means Toby Collier gets out of the team and Dalo is really going to be maintained to play as the left back. So that means out of the players that started in the game of Barnsley, we have 1 player so far into this probable starting, that is Diego Delo, who played as a right back and really looked magnificent and maverick into that game. So Mazurui and Dalo are really going to be playing into the right back and left back respectively. When we look at the central defense, it was Harry Maguire and John Evans, and how we believe that Matthias De Ligt is going to be coming in through to play as a right-sided centre-back. And remember, he banged himself a goal when you're playing against Southampton from a set piece. And then Lisandro Martinez is going to be replacing John Evans. All these two, Matthias De Ligt and Lisandro Martinez, played part in the game of Southampton and in the game of Barnsley. Both started on the bench. De Ligt played some 10 minutes, and Lisandro Martinez never really played a minute into that encounter, and that is the back four for the club of Manchester United. So we go to the midfield. It was Manuel Ugarte and Casemiro, and I would like to let you know that having gone ahead obviously take him off after the hour mark, I know he's really going to be starting into this team of Manchester United, and that is none other than Manuel Ugarte. And you saw how good he was, and this is the biggest test for him, that he's really going to be starting a Premier League game, right? That is going to be hugely competitive. Remember the game of Southampton, he came in through, played I think some, were they 10 minutes, and then the player went ahead to get a red card, and people were like, they're a 10-man down. Now we want to see him take on Premier League proven players that have been here and have gone here to really be proved and tested. So Manuel Ugarte obviously is really going to start into that CDM area. And the big question is on Eriksen, Casemiro, and Kobbie Mainoo, who is really going to be starting alongside Manuel Ugarte? That is the big question, and I think I have the answer. He is this guy known as Kobbie Mainoo. Why Kobbie Mainoo? Because he played no minute in the game of Southampton, and the manager was like, he needs to be rested. And I've gone ahead to let people know however much Casemiro is experienced, this guy provides more up high the pitch than him. And you're going to evidence it. You evidenced it when you're playing against Southampton. When Ugarte came in through, you saw to it that Kobbie Mainoo would have gone ahead to obviously bag himself an assist if at all Joshua Zirkzee had gone ahead to direct that ball well into the back of the net. You remember that very well. So I don't want us to come here and really tell lies to ourselves, but let's tell truth. Kobbie Mainoo is better than Casemiro. That is it. Though Casemiro looked good, but I think when you're having two players who really have some huge energy levels into that beautiful game of football, you really understand that the pivot is really going to be important. And all those players of Crystal Palace are really going to face it rough. And even Kobbie Mainoo is going to be given a lot of allowance and luxury to obviously operate in the final third of the pitch. So for me, I believe the double pivot that is ideal is Kobbie Mainoo and Manuel Ugarte. Manuel Ugarte 23 years of age. Then Kobe Mainoo is how many years? I think he's 19. He's going to be making 20, and that looks like it's going to be our dream midfield pivot for the club of Manchester United. Ahead of them, it's going to be Bruno Fernandes, a man who came off the bench and really created 2 assists for Eriksson, and he's really going to be starting to this game of football. And I think he's going to be enjoying himself better, as he's not going to be the only person to obviously create space. Kobe Mainoo will play high up the pitch a lot in his box-to-box role, and that will really shield attention from Bruno Fernandes and really also see Kobe Mainoo having attention from the opponents. And Kobe Mainoo is a press-resistant player. He can act well in tight spaces, and he's really going to come in through and run well. And we are going to be having more bodies that are really creative and very unselfish into the final third. So for Bruno Fernandes, Borges getting himself an assist against Southampton. I believe that this game is really going to be huge for him, though Crystal Palace is also not a very soft nut to crack. Then on the right, Anthony started on the right and scored a penalty, and no doubt it's really going to be Amadi Diallo. Amadi Diallo came on when we were playing against Barnsley and played some 35 minutes, and the manager was like, he needs to obviously warm up his legs a little bit. That is the man known as Amad Diallo. You understand? So on the left, obviously it's not going to be Garnacho, because Marcus Rashford scored a brace and Garnacho scored a brace, and Rashford had 1 assist. Garnacho had 2 assists the midweek. I think the manager will be like, we are having a UEFA Europa League game. Garnacho will start that. Let's obviously try to really give Marcus Rashford the required confidence into the game, and he really makes himself better. So I believe the manager is really going to start Marcus Rashford off the left. Though for me, I would start Garnacho on any day into that mix. No worries about my decision. I would start Alejandro Garnacho on any day. But he's going to be starting Marcus Rashford, and we are going to be waiting to see how he's really going to be performing into that ilk. On to the right, who's going to be leading the line? Obviously, Joshua Zexi came on and played some, I think, 20-30 minutes on the field of play, and Rasmus Højlund is back. And I don't see the reason as to why Erik ten Hag is really going to be rushing Rasmus Højlund back, and I think it's going to be Joshua Zexi leading that line. So that is my probable starting 11 for the club of Manchester United as we take on the side of Crystal Palace. And Crystal Palace is a side that is really planning to line up as follows, right? I think for Crystal Palace, when they're playing against Leicester City, right, this is how they went ahead to obviously line up in that game that ended 2-2. Obviously, they had Dean Henderson in goal, formerly of Manchester United, Nathan Klein, McGahey, and Lacroix. That was the back three, because they played the system of 3-4-2-1. Then Moruz, right wing back. Michel obviously played as a left wing back. Then Watson, the talented youngster, and Dokore played into what we call the double pivot. Edin Ketia and Eberechi Eze played as the 2 attacking midfielders centrally, and Mateta led the line. Now, I don't know whether he'll take off Mateta or Edin Ketia, but I don't see him really flaunting all these, obviously coming through and attack the club of Manchester United, because he also has the likes of Ismail Sarr, Jeff Scallop, Kamada is there, Will Hughes, Joel Ward, Chris Richards, and very many others. They're really going to be coming in to put in a shift. But for me, Ebelechi Eze is the scare man. That is the guy that does all the magic into this side of Crystal Palace. So if at all we maintain him very well and really get him out of the game, I think we can create moments of magic, and if at all we defend better, we can walk away with 3 points as a club of Manchester United. Now, these are the records, all the head-to-head stats that you need to know. 1, Crystal Palace did a double over Man United in the Premier League last season, the first time they've ever beaten them in consecutive league matches. So you've gone ahead to hear it very well. Last season they came to Old Trafford, they beat us, I think by 1-0, and then Away from home, they beat us by 4-0. Secondly, Man United have lost 2 of their last 3 away league games against Crystal Palace. 1 draw, having been beaten in the previous 13 such visits to face the Eagles at the Selhurst Park. 9 wins and 4 draws. Thirdly, having won none of the first 20 Premier League meetings with Manchester United, 4 draws and 16 losses, Crystal Palace have now won 5 of their last 10 games against them in the division. So, 2 draws and 3 losses. So, that is it. Fourthly, Man United have won just 2 of their last 16 Premier League games away against London's Hides, 4 draws and 10 losses, with both of those victories coming against Fulham 2-1 and 1-0 in November 2023. The Red Devils have lost as many Premier League games in the capital since Alex Ferguson's retirement, 24 in 64 visits, as they had in 118 such matches with the Scotsman in charge. Now, this is really very absurd and very worrying that Man United have gone ahead to obviously win just 2 games and against one team that is Fulham in London, meaning that London has not gone ahead to be our best visit for the side of Manchester United, and we need to obviously come up with a solution that will really heal us and really give us positive results into the mix. So, I think this time round we stand a better chance to beat them. And lastly, Crystal Palace remain winless in the Premier League so far this season. 2 draws, 2 losses, having won 6 of their final 7 league games in 2023-2024. So, at home, Crystal Palace, they are not a soft nut to crack. They're a hard one to crack. So this season, Crystal Palace opened up with their first game was against Brentford. They lost to Brentford by 2-1. West Ham beat them by 2-0. And they went ahead to draw with Chelsea 1-1, and they drew with Palace, meaning that they're really having only 2 points. When you look at their Premier League position, Palace is 16th and Man United is 10th. So, with that squad of Manchester United and the probable starting 11 that I've going to obviously come up with, I believe United is going to be winning this game of football by 3-1. That is it. A clean sheet is also possible because I know Matthias De Ligt's combination and a player known as Lisandro Martinez will obviously yield us results, and the coming in through of Manuel Ugarte into the single pivot will obviously take us into higher standards. Rokan David remains my name. I sign out for now. See you. Let us continue to subscribe because we want to hit 20,000 subscribers. And guys, don't stop it. Let's continue to really give you the vibe that you people deserve. And this has been the match preview. I'm returning with more and more stories that Erik ten Hag has gone ahead to hint on as he was talking the return of Rasmus Højlund and talking Crystal Palace on how we are supposed to revenge against them, because beating 4-0 last season should be a revenge that Man United should take to them immediately. Bye-bye.